Well, hello class, and welcome to week 2 of BACC 531 Managerial Accounting. Hope that each of you are having a great start to this new week and also that you had a great kickoff to the class in week 1 as we began to dive into a variety of managerial accounting concepts and cost concepts, particularly looking at those in how they relate to management decision-making processes and the overall business environments in which we operate. This week, as we turn our attention to week 2 content, specifically from chapters 3 and 4 of our textbook and our course materials, we're going to be taking those foundational concepts that we examined together in week 1, and we're going to be focusing on applying those within the context of particular cost management or cost accounting paradigms that we're going to utilize this week. Broadly, we can divide these paradigms, these approaches to how we track and accumulate cost-related information in a business context, into two broad categories. Number one, those types of settings, manufacturing, service, or otherwise, that are involving products or services that are highly customized, looking at relatively small volumes and differentiated products, where every order that's being placed or every round of service in whatever form it comes being provided is largely customized to the specifications of that particular order and from that particular customer or client. The second broad category that we can divide this into is what we will learn to call process cost settings or process systems that are used to account for those particular settings. And these are scenarios in which we're looking at manufacturing or service activities where what's being provided in terms of the product or service is not customized. Rather, it's basically a homogeneous product or service, largely the same product or service being provided in much larger volumes or according to a continuous production setting or a continuous service providing type of approach. So category 1 is looking at custom orders where you're dealing with batches of product made according to particular specifications. The second setting is looking at either a continuous manufacturing process or very large rounds of production where there's low or no customization, and you're looking at homogeneous products or services that are being provided. In the first category, we will learn to account for those highly customized settings through what's called a job order costing system, where costs including direct materials, direct labor, manufacturing overhead are going to be accumulated according to each individual job through something that we will learn to refer to as the job order ticket. In previous generations, that ticket was a physical document where you would actually have the materials and the labor and the overhead cost accumulated. Today, that far more frequently is going to come in the form of a digital file, an area of data accumulation within an accounting information system where those cost items are going to still be tracked and accumulated according to individual jobs. In a process system, because we're looking at manufacturing on a much larger scale, not necessarily in terms of aggregate, job order systems can relate to very large scale operations, but particularly with regard to a given product line. We're not moving in batches so much with a process type environment. We're looking at continuous or very large scale manufacturing of the same product, homogeneous product. So for example, think about Hershey bars. If you're looking at a particular type of Hershey bar, one Hershey bar is pretty much akin to the next, at least for that particular model of Hershey bar. I know Hershey bars come in different types and different varieties, but let's assume we're dealing with one standard milk chocolate Hershey bar. If that's the case, you're typically going to be looking at manufacturing of those items in very large volumes and on a relatively continuous basis. Accordingly, tracking cost data in that type of an environment would be less appropriate to accumulate in individual jobs or batches, and it would be more appropriate to track that according to particular processes such as mixing, baking, assembly, packaging, or those types of operations. Both in terms of manufacturing environments where we're making a product or service environments when we're providing complex services, we can find applications for both of these paradigms for tracking accounting related information to empower decisions. We can look at that in a variety of different contexts. For example, example, if you're thinking about healthcare and the healthcare industries and the professions related to that, a hospital system that has an OR and is providing an array of surgical procedures is going to have need for tracking a considerable volume of cost-related information and expenditures related to the providing of those services. In some settings and with some types of surgical procedures, you may be looking at a fairly standardized approach, such as a hip replacement or a knee replacement. In terms of the broad mechanics related to those procedures, a hip replacement is a hip replacement. You're looking at replacing a physical component, a part of the body, with another unit, something that's been manufactured in a synthetic style that's going to replace that biological component. And yet, even though we're looking at one hip replacement in essence being similar to another, there's also going to be unique differences from one patient to another. No two people are exactly alike, and because of that, surgeons and physicians and nurses and caregivers who work in healthcare will often tell you that while there's a standardized set of surgical procedures, there's also naturally going to be variations from one patient to another. That leads us to a circumstance where, from a data accumulation and a decision-making and analytical perspective, we might actually have a scenario where it's appropriate to take, in essence, the best of both worlds. Some attributes of a job order, a customized approach, where we're accumulating data according to individual jobs, and some attributes of the process costing approach, where we're looking at standardized and large volume type processes being carried out. That, as we'll get into in Chapter 4, is going to be a hybrid costing approach, where essentially you're borrowing attributes from both of the other paradigms to fit what is best needed or what best suits your particular area of operation. So we're looking at how we're accumulating costs, again, according to individual jobs and largely customized settings in the job order approach, looking at large-scale or continuous manufacturing operations under the process approach, or essentially borrowing from both worlds in the hybrid approach. As you explore the content this week, we'll take a look at how we'll harness those concepts in the decision-making processes and the data accumulating and analytical processes related to those in order to empower decisions on the part of management and to better lead the business organizations and the enterprises that you are seeking to serve. This week, as you get into the content, you're going to find that you have two assignments that you will need to complete. Number one is your Week 2 required reading assignment that will be completed through McGraw-Hill Connect, the Learn Smart assignment, as you take a look at that. And then secondly, your Week 2 problem set, taking the concepts that you'll examine through the recorded lectures and through the reading content and also through the reading assignment, and applying that in a laboratory type based setting where you're applying that to particular cases and problems as you work through that assignment. As always, I want to encourage you, if you have any questions or run into challenges along the way, please reach out and let me know. You can reach me at jake.brock@ucumberlands.edu. I hope you have a wonderful week journeying through the content, and again, look forward to hearing from you. Having a great day, and I will speak with you soon.